Music biopics be like, coming this fall, the heartwarming story of the Beatles before Ringo. Best in Class, the Pete Best story. Next summer, you know him, you love him, it's Stamos USA. John Stamos, but only the times when he played with the Beach Boys. Coming soon, an icon like you've never seen him before. Chris Brown, his life. From birth up until the night of February 8th, 2009. Music biopics are everywhere. We've gotten Elvis, Whitney, Bob Marley, Amy Winehouse, Robbie Williams' Monkey, Queen, Michael Jackson, and coming soon, Britney Spears, Ozzy Osbourne, Billy Joel, and 4 separate Beatles movies. While they've been a thing for many decades now, music biopics have become much more of a thing in recent years. This stat really surprised me. Since the 1990s, we've seen a linear rise in the amount of music biopics released per decade. In the 2020s so far, we've almost matched the 2010s in terms of music biopic releases, and we've still got like, what, 3.5 years left in the decade? So I wanted to understand why that is. And in the process, I learned something kinda shocking. A music biopic is not a music biopic. I mean, it literally is, but it's also many more things than that. 5 things, in fact, and I'm gonna tell you those things right now. Number 1, a music biopic is a 100 gecs song, in that it's a money machine. Music biopics can make so much money. All Eyez on Me, $55 million. Vie En Rose, $87 million. Rocketman, $195 million. Putting a famous musician's life up on the big screen can potentially bring in truckloads of money. Imagine how much more they would make if they got into the popcorn bucket game. Yes, hi, I'll have one Springsteen popcorn bucket shaped like the Chicken Man. Is that even what the Chicken Man looked like? Oh, he was a real guy who died. Not every music biopic is a guaranteed smash, of course, but compared to a new story about new people, a movie about a world-famous musician starts off with a massive advantage. The songs. A lot of these movies, bless their hearts, are basically prestige jukebox musicals. Even if the directing is rubbish, even if the writing only serves to set up each musical number, the movie can still stop every 15 minutes and be like, hey, remember Crocodile Rock? For those few minutes, the movie gets to borrow all of that emotion you have attached to that music. It's a giant cheat code. Up, up, down, down, left, right, be a star in something. I would say these movies only make bank when they're good, but then I look at the 2 highest grossing music biopics of all time. I have issues with them. Let's leave it at that. Though if you want to hear me rant about Michael for almost an hour, you can check that out on Patreon and Nebula. Links in the description. Number 2, a music biopic is Oscar bait. Award committees love to give awards to music biopics. Famous musician is a role that can earn an actor or actress loads of nominations and awards. It's up there with well-known political figure, or sad man, or sad woman, or Emma Stone. Just the person, Emma Stone. Okay, I'm being a little glib here, so let me be real as well. Playing a musician can be a tough role for an actor to pull off. Immersing themselves into the musician's life, trying to understand what makes them human, even just trying to get the singing voice right. Austin Butler played Elvis a few years back, and he didn't stop talking like Elvis for like a year after the movie came out. Part of the appeal, I think, is that the performance is legible. Voters can see the work. They know the person, they know the music, they know the stage moves. And if an actor can check off those boxes, that means they did well. Don't think the biopic awards can come in just for acting though. A music biopic can win awards for sound, for music, for cinematography, for really good editing.
So this is Queen. And you must be Freddie Mercury. You've got a gift.
But here's the thing. Those 2 reasons, money and Oscars, have been reasons to make music biopics for basically the entire time they've existed. Jamie Foxx got an Oscar for Ray. Reese Witherspoon got one for Walk the Line. Both movies made over $100 million at the box office. Money and Oscars on their own don't explain why we're getting so many music biopics these days. For that, we'll have to dive a little bit deeper. Number 3, a music biopic is a tentpole cinematic event. We're in an interesting place where studios are trying to figure out what exactly us moviegoers want. For most of the 2010s, what we wanted was superhero movies. They dominated that decade, along with Disney and Star Wars and Minions. Here in the 2020s, all of those have been more hit or miss. The most recent superhero movie, as of me filming this, just bombed hard. Disney's been either striking out with new animated movies or remaking the ones from a decade ago. The new Minions movie disappointed, despite actually being a good movie from what I've heard. And just a few months ago, an indie horror movie based on a Reddit copy pasta rivaled Star Wars at the box office. And now studio execs are looking up Reddit threads for movie ideas. I know a good one about a song a guy used during set. Now you might be thinking this means we're in for a brave new world of original cinema, but I don't think we're out of the IP woods just yet. You look at the 10 highest grossing movies of the decade so far, and each one is a sequel based on an existing property, or both. When conventional IP fails, studios look to different places for pre-existing material, like video games, or toys, or musicians. At a certain point, a musician is an IP. They're a person, of course, but the music they make, the clothes they wear, the merch they sell, the action figures they resemble, it's all part of an established IP, the brand they embody. That kind of built-in familiarity is extremely valuable. The advantage of a musician as IP is that the audience doesn't just recognize the person, they also recognize the songs, like I mentioned earlier. And seeing those songs play out against a movie theater screen, or a home theater screen, or clips on TikTok, it can make you remember why you fell in love with the artist in the first place. And while we're on the topic of brand, number 4, a music biopic is a brand building exercise. Something that most music biopics these days share is whether we like it or not, the artist or their estate are involved in making it. At the very least, the filmmakers got the life rights to the artist. You don't always legally need the life rights to make a biopic. The 2020 Bowie biopic Stardust, they didn't get the life rights to Bowie for that one. But getting them can make the whole process much easier, especially when it comes to getting the music rights. Plus, if you don't get the life rights, the artist or their estate can come out and denounce your movie and call it unauthorized, and that can be a death sentence. A music biopic can help the artist or their estate tell the story they want you to know. Michael, for example, covers Michael Jackson's life from the Jackson 5 up to Bad, and does not cover anything after Bad. That means the movie is the feel-good story about how MJ became the most beloved pop music icon ever and never did anything controversial. Let's also look at Straight Outta Compton, the NWA biopic from 2015. That one came out at a time when Dr. Dre's assault allegations were coming to light. And to the filmmaker's credit, they do mention it.
I like you, Andre, but there's a lot going on around you.
What you mean?
I know about the whole death row business, the assault charges, the shooting.
The assaults. What kind? Just the assaults. They're vaguely mentioned, like you're watching a terrible YouTuber apology video. When's Dre gonna bust out the ukulele? Telling the story they want to tell means they can omit things they don't want you to know. We saw it with Bohemian Rhapsody. The rest of the band, who were producers on the movie, came off as wholesome, respectable adults, while Rami Malek's Freddie Mercury did all the alcohol and drugs. When a Rolling Stone biopic comes out, they probably won't mention the Altamont concert at all. When a Joni Mitchell biopic comes out, they'll probably skirt around all the blackface. I'll admit I'm bringing up extreme examples to make a point, but brand building doesn't always mean covering up controversy. Sometimes it just means turning a messy life into a clean legacy. The artist becomes easier to understand, to remember, and to sell. They're no longer a person with contradictions and bad decisions and weird eras. They're just an idea. Freddie is freedom. Elvis is rebellion. Bob Marley is unity. Robbie Williams is monkey. And listen, I don't want to say every surface level music biopic is automatically worthless. A common complaint about music biopics these days is that they can feel like a Wikipedia article. I don't disagree, but I wonder if the target audience for these movies are people whose knowledge of a musician is even more surface level. Like, they know the songs, but the most they know about the people is Freddie Mercury had a mustache, or Bowie dressed up funny. I also think there's value in old information packaged in new ways. Yeah, you could go read all of Michael Jackson's Wikipedia articles, and they would be really dense and kind of boring, and in his case, very sad at times. But a 2-hour movie with bright lights and music and dancing and absolutely nothing after bad, that's gonna be a better time. It's like video essays that rehash months-old Twitter drama. Yeah, you could just be on Twitter and live the drama yourself, but then you would have to spend some of your precious time on this earth on Twitter. So the videos automatically have value.
Number 5, a music biopic is a financial asset.
Now, this is where I could whip out the video essay voice and be like, how we listen to music has changed dramatically over the past 2 decades. It is true, but I'm gonna assume you already know that. Here's something you might not know, or at least don't think about as much. The ways in which our listening can be tracked have changed dramatically. Back in the olden days of the CD, once you purchased an album, the data that got sent to a label stopped. The label couldn't see how much you listened to the album, if you only listened to one song, if you gave the CD to somebody, if you sold it, etc. Nowadays, the consumption, the of our music is a lot more trackable. Rights holders can see how often a song is listened to, where someone stops listening to it, who is listening to it, where in the world they're based, other artists they listen to, even more etceteras. That means an artist's catalog is an ongoing, living entity, an investment that gains or loses value based on how the culture engages with the artist. Hit songs can now just pop up regardless of when they came out. Now let's take this idea and put it over here for just a second. You may have also seen an increase in recent years of companies purchasing the catalogs of artists for eye-watering, water-eyeing amounts of money. If you owned the rights to an artist's catalog and you earned money based on how much the public engaged with it, it might behoove you to push people to the music. And you could do this in multiple ways: marketing campaigns, sync placements in movies and TV shows, or a full-on recreation of an artist's life story told through the magic of cinema. And here we are now, combining these two ideas into one megazord idea. Because the timing of these catalog purchases, followed by biopic releases, can be quite noticeable. Sony buys half of MJ's catalog for $600 million right as production for Michael kicks off. The movie doesn't even have to be out yet for the machine to start working. First there's the announcement, then the casting news, then the trailer drops with the one song everyone knows, then people argue about whether the actor actually looks like the artist. Then old performances get clipped, then the soundtrack comes out, then the movie hits theaters, then the movie hits streaming. Every step is another excuse for the culture to look back at the artist, and every time that happens, the catalog gets a little more attention. Now I gotta put up a big disclaimer, it's not like the catalog owners make the movie themselves. I think the only exception I could find was the Whitney Houston biopic, where one of the producers owned the company that owned her catalog. The person who kicks off the biopic process is the artist, or their estate, or whoever owns the life rights. But when a biopic about a musician gets greenlit, it's certainly nice to be the one holding all of the music. Because for the catalog owner, they get money, and for the filmmakers, they get music. Because it would be nice to have the music for a music biopic. You don't want Michael up on stage dancing and yelling to nothing. So I'm not saying every catalog buyer is in a dark room demanding the S Club 7 cinematic universe. The point is, if the movie exists, the catalog becomes more valuable to whoever owns it. The biopic becomes another engine to push people back towards the songs. And that's why everyone is getting a music biopic, because it's not just a biopic, it's a box office play, an awards play, an IP play, a legacy play, and in the streaming era, a catalog play. Music biopics are a booming business. I don't know if any of the ones coming up will be good, but I'm rooting for them. When a music biopic combines great storytelling and great music, it can be truly magical. In fact, I'll recommend some great ones to you. Love and Mercy hops between Brian Wilson making pet sounds and Brian under the care of his shithead abusive therapist. I love biopics that look at specific periods as opposed to an artist's entire life. To that same end, the Springsteen biopic from last year focuses solely on Bruce making Nebraska and Born in the USA. That's a great time. I'm Not There is sort of a Bob Dylan biopic, but more accurately, it explores 6 different characters that represent Bob Dylan as an artist. Really fascinating stuff, one of Cate Blanchett's best performances. I know folks love Walk Hard as a parody of music biopics. I admit I haven't actually seen it yet, but I do love Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. It's Walk Hard if it was made by The Lonely Island. And finally, my precious Better Man. Like, I know I've been making jokes about it this whole time. It's the Robbie Williams monkey biopic, but it's so freaking good, cause like the monkey conceit isn't just for like shits and giggles. It's actually something that plays into the narrative and how it portrays Robbie throughout his career and throughout the movie. And the musical set pieces are so good, like the one for Rock DJ and the one for She's the One. At one point, and also this is spoiler, so sorry, but I need to get this on camera, but when he performs at Nebworth and the whole crowd becomes Robbie Williams monkeys, and then he jumps in and starts killing them all, and it turns into a freaking bloodbath, and then he stabs a knife through the heart of his child monkey self. This might be the greatest movie ever made.